Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second information session with our partners from institutions of higher education on their dual credit offerings and possibilities for partnership. I'm thrilled to be able to kick off the second session. My name is Ajit Gopalakrishnan. I'm the Chief Performance Officer here at the department. I'm also joined by my colleague, Renee Savoy. And again, we released the dual credit grant on May 1st. And we're thrilled that there is a lot of activity and a lot of interest among our IHE partners, and we're absolutely grateful for their partnership in this work, and also to all of you from our school districts who are considering ways in which to expand opportunities and options for our students. And when we say dual credit, we are thinking of not just traditional academic type pathways, which is totally fine and great. We also are encouraging more career-oriented dual credit options, whether they be in manufacturing, in healthcare, or whatever the industry may be that is of interest to our students and in need and demand in your communities. So I'm thrilled that you're all here. And we want, and I've been saying this in any public forum I get, we want every district to come in and apply for these funds. And we're committed to doing our best to support as many of the districts as we possibly can. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Renee Savoy to kick us off. Renee, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Savoy from the Performance Office. I have probably emailed you relentlessly, and it will continue. We had about 70 people register for this session. Everyone who registered, whether they're here now or not, will get a link to the recording. And I'm going to ask the presenters, if you have slides that you're willing to share, I'll send you a little reminder after this session, and you can send those to me so that when the recording's available, I'll send a link to the recording, and I'll give you all the slides that I've received so you can have that information as background when you're thinking about new partnerships that you might want to start up. So let's go ahead and have our higher education partners introduce themselves, starting with our first representative from Central Connecticut State University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Hernandez. I'm the Director for College Success Programs and Community Engagement at Central. And in this role, I do a lot of our access and retention work, including some of our K-12 partnership work with dual enrollment.
Thanks. We'll turn it over to Goodwin. We have one person listed on the slide, but we have more than one person presenting, and the same thing in the case of UConn. We have two representatives here today. So take it away, Caprice.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caprice Smith. I'm an Assistant Dean of Student here at Goodwin, and in that role, I also serve as our Director of Early College Programs. And I will let my teammate join me, introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Sal Menzo. I am the superintendent of Goodwin University Magnet Schools, and I work very closely with Caprice in the Student Affairs Office on early college as well as concurrent enrollment opportunities for high school students across the state.
And our third IHE partner, UConn.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chris Todd. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Early College Programs at the University of Connecticut, and I am joined here this afternoon with my colleague, Jessica Dunn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jessica Dunn, Assistant Director of Office of Early College Programs, Director of Student Enrichment for the UConn Early College Experience program, which is our concurrent enrollment program.
Excellent. So before I turn it over to Jessica to talk about Central and what they have to offer all of you, I want to do some introductory remarks about kind of the path we're on. I know that many of you on the call today actually attended our first session last week, so I'm not going to take too much time on these slides. You've heard this before. As far as the timeline of activities, we know that on April 6th, we had a big announcement about the investment in growing dual credit offerings. And from there, we launched the grant on May 1st. So you've all seen the grant overview. I mean, that's why you're here. On May 8th, we had an initial information session for districts. So no higher ed partners on the call, but it was us helping you understand what our vision is for the grant project and the ins and outs of the application itself. On May 15th, we met with the Connecticut Early College Coordinators. It was a roundtable meeting. It was their inaugural meeting, led off by Southern and UConn. And I want to point that out because here's an example of, we have representatives from the institutions of higher education talking among themselves. I think it's important for district staff to know that the colleges and universities are talking with each other and thinking about how they can best support all of you as you look to expand dual credit offerings. On May 19th, we launched a brand new website, and you'll find that my links often lead you there, so you can take a look at that. One of the reasons why we created the website was based on district feedback. We knew we wanted to do something to grow dual credit, and so we asked district and school representatives, what are the challenges that you're facing? What can we do as a state agency to sort of make that expansion a little easier? And one of the key pieces of feedback that we received is that schools and districts often don't know where to look to get information about potential partnerships. What is, what are the tuition and fees for students? Are there fee waivers? And most importantly, who is the one person at the institution that districts can contact to get more information? If you go to that website, you're going to see that we have information for many public and private universities and colleges throughout Connecticut. So I would encourage you to take a look at that as you think about ways to expand your dual credit options for students. And then we also wanted an opportunity for our partners in higher ed to talk more about what they can offer all of you. And so that's what these information sessions are all about. We had one last week. That recording is available on the Dual Credit Opportunities website. And we have 2 more coming up tomorrow with a different set of colleges and universities. The applications are due on July 17th. And we are going to be announcing all grant decisions by August 21st. So that's the timeline that we are working with. Some vocabulary that I want to make sure we're sort of all on the same plane when we're talking about this. Dual credit is kind of an umbrella term that we're using to reference concurrent enrollment courses, which are courses offered at the high school, usually taught by your district faculty, and then dual enrollment courses, which are taught on college campuses. This dual credit expansion grant considers concurrent and dual enrollment. We want to be able to incentivize expanding opportunities under that entire dual credit umbrella. The grant program itself, I mean, you probably are all familiar at this point. We've been talking a lot about it, but it is really focused on, just as a reminder, startup costs. This is not about operational ongoing costs of offering dual credit courses. These are startup costs. And they must be in partnership. These expansion efforts must be in partnership with Connecticut's institutions of higher education, and the application does require that. As Ajit mentioned at the beginning, we can think of these as traditionally academic type courses that are being offered, but we also want to take a look at career-oriented pathways, and there is a lot out there that's already happening in our high schools throughout the state. We want to see more of that. I think it's a great move in the right direction. And in the end, the goal of this is to increase the number of students who are earning non-remedial college credit while they're in high school. We want more students earning it, and we want the students who are earning it to earn even more. So expanding in many different ways. So again, startup costs, not operational costs, not student tuition, not student fees, not student transportation. There are efforts underway to see if we can't get some dedicated funding for that in the future. But for this particular grant opportunity, those kind of operational costs do not apply. Some examples of eligible spending categories are here on this slide. Stipends for teachers and college faculty to work together in partnership to develop and modify curriculum so that they are more aligned with college expectations. We are hearing a lot about teachers who have master's degree, maybe not in a particular content area, but maybe need to take a couple more courses and would be qualified to be a concurrent enrollment instructor, depending on which college or university you're working with. These grant funds can be used for high school faculty reimbursement for college tuition for those teachers who are going to go on and be credentialed to teach dual credit courses in your high school. And then finally, specialized equipment or materials for concurrent enrollment courses. This is when we're actually getting a lot of questions about whether or not, if you have a newly articulated course, can you purchase, let's say, textbooks for that particular course? And that is an allowable expense. And the way we're thinking about it is a textbook is going to be used for not only that initial group of students taking this course, but for future groups of students. So if we're talking about an expense, it's not a consumable supply. If you want to buy supplies that can only be used for that one new cohort of students to take this course, that's not going to be allowable. But for something that is going to help you get the course started and be able to be used by multiple cohorts of kids over years, then that is absolutely an allowable expense for this particular grant. And then one final thing about the grant application itself, before I turn it over to Jessica. I've said this now probably in every opportunity I have to talk about this, is if you are sitting down to input your answers to the grant questions in the online application, my suggestion to you is to prepare all of your responses in advance in a Word document and copy and paste into the online application. The online application does not allow you to come back over multiple sittings and draft responses to each question and then finally submit. It has to be done all in one sitting. So my best advice is to prepare everything in advance outside of the system and then just copy and paste, and it should take you probably under 10 minutes to get your responses in. That is my best advice on the application. Before I turn it over to Jessica, Ajit, did you want to make any remarks before we transition? Did we have any chats?
I don't see anything in the chat. In terms of questions, yeah, you can put them in the chat, and once the presenters are done, we'll also allow you to raise your hand, virtual hand, and ask a question.
Sounds good. I am going to stop sharing, and then Jessica, you can share what you need to share.
Okay, awesome. So I will jump in, and please, let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything that you might need some clarification on. Again, I'm Jessica Hernandez. I do want to just point out that there are several people at my institution involved in developing partnerships and working with certain school districts on partnerships, especially when they are specific to a particular career or pathway. And so I have Dr. Talty's information here in the School of Education. One of the big areas that we are working through our partnerships with our K-12 school districts has to do with education pathways. And so we have specific districts where we're building some relationships around this, both for undergraduate students and for educators who are already in the fields, but who may be looking for additional credentialing. So I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But I'm glad that Renee, you mentioned the terminology. I think that one of the things we've been finding as we're talking with our school district partners is the fact that we're using a lot of words interchangeably and terminology interchangeably. Central is a little bit new to the dual enrollment world. We probably have kind of been ramping up slowly, mostly through dual enrollment. And what we consider to be dual enrollment are opportunities where high school students who attend a school with an existing partnership agreement coming to our campus and participating and registering for classes like a regular CCSU student would. So these students are able to register on a space available basis during specific non-matriculated student timelines, but essentially they can take any course as long as they have met the prerequisites, and they are given the permission to do so through their school. Students can take up to 2 courses per semester on our campus through our dual enrollment opportunities, and the content area courses that they can take vary. They're all over across the board in most of our majors and disciplines. So there's, it's harder to say it's easier to say what students can't register than what they can. I think the biggest challenge for us is making sure that there is space available for the students to participate through dual enrollment. The other piece that we're building up now is the articulation agreements. And so these partnerships are more between the school districts or the specific schools and our departments, whereby faculty, high school faculty, are able to teach CCSU courses for credit at the high school. And so we're at the beginning stages. We've run a few pilots with a few school districts and hoping to ramp that up. And this is where, again, we may be looking at courses that already have some alignment in terms of the curriculum, or we're exploring with our school partners a specific pathway that they would like to partner with us on, and looking at the courses that are offered. And I'll just use New Britain High School as an example with their academies. The Finance Academy, for example, there are already a few courses that have some close alignment in our School of Business. And so working with the teachers and administrators on both ends to align that curriculum so that credit can be given with the high school teacher teaching that course. In terms of policies and procedures, our dual enrollment registration is pretty straightforward. It's not very sophisticated. We have a form that's assigned to each school. Once a partnership agreement is in place, they will get their own registration form. A contact at the high school is designated as the person that then submits all of the registration forms to our registrar's office. Students are registered, and we're asking, in those kind of traditional dual enrollment registration process, we ask that students pick alternatives in case the courses get filled before they're able to register. And then the registration confirmation is sent to the high school designee that then gets that information out to students. Before the fall and spring semesters, we also try to do a virtual orientation for students to give them the opportunity to learn the Blackboard system that most of our faculty members use, how to create their CCSU username and BlueNet username and password, all of the things that they'll need to be able to access course information. From the articulation standpoint, I am the designate at CCSU for partnerships that aren't already in place. So I will get the process started, meet with school district administrators to get a sense for what they're looking for in the articulation agreement and partnership. Again, is this related to a specific career pathway, specific courses? Is it open to any course? Are there specific areas that the school district is prioritizing? And so I will begin that process, help get a partnership agreement drafted, and then connect the administrators at the high school with the appropriate administrators on our campus, whether it be department chairs or deans or other administrators that can help kind of begin the process of articulation. At some point, we are kind of still, like I mentioned before, at the beginning stages. We do have a draft of a certification form that the high school teacher would be submitting to us so that their credentials can be reviewed. And then the department chair or dean approves the high school teacher being able to teach the course, or we may, as part of this, kind of embed some additional work that we do on both ends in partnership with the school district to get in the place where we can move that along. So the dual enrollment piece is a little bit more kind of moving on as it needs to. We're establishing some better protocols just in terms of submitting forms and so forth. But the articulation partnership piece is something that we're really excited. And the nice part about where we are coming into this process is that there is excitement around this. There are best practices that we're looking to follow and have somewhat of a roadmap, but also because we don't have anything firmly in place yet, we can be a little more flexible to address the important factors that our school our district partners want to address. So we can be flexible and really kind of creative around some of the priority areas that the school districts are interested in. I just listed a few of the schools that we're currently, or school districts that we're either currently already have an agreement with at some stage of either dual enrollment or articulation, or conversations have happened between superintendents or other administrators to talk about potential dual enrollment or articulation partnerships. We have some kind of, like I mentioned before, education pathways are a big, there's several more schools that I hadn't listed on here because Paula handles more of those education pathway partnerships, but again, really focus on growing our educator pathway here to Central. But manufacturing, robotics, engineering, so a lot of the STEM and STEAM areas, that's a huge piece for us. Like I mentioned before, many school districts are looking at expanding or augmenting what they're able to offer through these partnerships and creating some pathways. We have a pilot that we ran through articulation with Vinyl Tech around criminology. That was an example of a school district that already had a pathway, courses that were very similar to our intro courses in crim. And so we were pretty quickly able to put something together between faculty in our crim department and the high school faculty. And then business, even some community-based organizations, junior achievement, and other places that we're looking at who go and partner with the school districts that offer a curriculum that then we can maybe align to give those students credit. So I wasn't quite sure exactly what other information would be helpful. I'm happy to add some additional detail or answer any questions at this point, or if there's anything in particular that I've missed, please let me know, but that is it for me.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it. And I think we're on time, so maybe pause here and any questions for Jessica before we move to the next IHE? And you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. We can unmute you and you can ask your question. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it. And I'm sure people will think of questions as they come in, and we can take that. Renee, who's next? I think it's Goodwin.
Yep, we're tossing it to Goodwin.
I'm sharing my screen. We good?
Looks
Great.
good.
All right. So we're again, Sal Menzo, Superintendent of Goodwin University Magnet Schools. We actually have an opportunity, and you're getting a 2-for-1 because Goodwin University Magnet Schools and Goodwin University rather, and University of Bridgeport are co-owned. So we have opportunities to work together, and we're going to share a little bit about both programs today. But I want to introduce my colleague, Caprice Smith, and I unfortunately am, there we go. I'm frozen, sorry. So before we get to Caprice, I just do want to say that we have over 30 districts growing with us, as partners with both Goodwin and University of Bridgeport for dual enrollment as well as concurrent enrollment. So we have dual enrollment with some districts because we're obviously a magnet school system. So we not only have them in our schools all day, but also we have an advanced manufacturing program with Goodwin University where students come in for dual enrollment on campus. Concurrent enrollment we have across the spectrum of pathways.
Okay, and Caprice Smith from Goodwin University. Here is a focus when it comes to our concurrent enrollment programs, the different pathways that we offer. Again, with our alliance with the University of Bridgeport being co-owned by them, it does allow for many different areas, including advanced manufacturing, as well as business administration and finance, computer science, information technology, education, general studies, and medical careers. And Sal is going to go into a little bit more detail into each one of these pathways.
So the pathways have been established in alignment with what you would see with our Perkins grant and also looking at career clusters. So in our advanced manufacturing pathway, we offer up to 21 credits that could be concurrently enrolled by students throughout the state. Presently, we are also working with the Department of Labor. So anyone who goes through the program would be able to get a pre-apprenticeship certificate from the Department of Labor for this particular area and this particular pathway. These pathways really or these courses in particular are not machinery laden. They require very little machinery. We would work with districts who are interested in implementing these pathways to look at grants as well as potential use of this particular grant to help fund those resources. We do also offer professional development for teachers who are going to teach these courses in their districts. We offer summer programming as well as embedded professional development throughout the school year with partner districts. The next one is business administration and finance. You'll note that I'm doing purple and blue. Purple is for University of Bridgeport and blue would be for Goodwin University. These courses are clustered at the University of Bridgeport. They've been in existence and articulated with districts for many years now. We see this as an 18 credit opportunity for business administration and finance pathway or cluster in a school system. The interesting one would be, I would draw your attention to Fin 209, Finance 209. That is a personal finance class. We all know that in the legislature, there continues to be discussion about making personal finance a requirement for high school students. This course is in coordination and combination with an online personal finance course that we help establish. And this course will generate, for any student who takes the course successfully, will be able to get the 3 credits and generate a certificate, or I should say, a transcript for those 3 credits. The next area, computer science for information technology. This is very exciting because Goodwin University Magnet Schools will be opening a new technical high school in 2025. So you'll note that this is launching an 18 to 21 credit program, concurrent credit programming that we are working on right now and developing. And this is where we'd be looking to have partner schools participate in this opportunity. Presently, there is second language programming that's offered on a concurrent enrollment basis through University of Bridgeport. But we are in the process of developing with the universities, both universities, concurrent enrollment opportunities in cybersecurity, automation, augmented reality, and Microsoft credentialing. Again, another aspect of this opportunity is that we are kind of beta testing this with our scholars, which we're very excited to do so as we continue to grow this out for other districts across the state. Next, University of Bridgeport does have an education pathway, which features the 5 courses listed, equaling the 15 credits. Combined with general studies credits, students would be significantly advanced as they move into a formalized education program. Next, I know that we all have some general education courses, and I know that obviously they've been around for many years. These are just some of the offerings that University of Bridgeport offers. So you have your wide range from your English. We are moving into more of the world language opportunities, and if there are districts who are interested in beyond Spanish and French, we would encourage you to reach out because we are piloting some opportunities with students taking more critical languages that or additional critical languages, shall I say, that might be of interest, where obviously educators are not in abundance to teach in local school districts, nor are the numbers. So the numbers of students wanting certain courses might be prohibitive in hiring a full-time teacher. These are some of the other general education classes. Medical careers is an interesting opportunity for Goodwin University and University of Bridgeport. We were one of the pre-K-12 school systems to be awarded a Health Horizons grant from the state. This allowed us to get funding to begin to build a basically medical careers cluster beyond what is happening presently in high schools. So again, if there are districts interested in joining us on this journey, this is going to be a journey that will occur all of next year with a launch in 2024. We're looking at really moving it beyond the CNA. We have a CNA program, and I know districts, I looked at the list of districts. I know there's several districts on this call that have CNA programs. We'd like to move beyond that. Presently, there is articulation with university for phlebotomy and fundamentals of medical laboratory science. However, we really want to make sure we go beyond into the anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, but then the exciting opportunity is to really create a pre-LPN program, knowing that we want students not to end at the LPN, but move from the CNA to LPN to RN to BSN. So we are very fortunate having two universities with very well-known and regarded nursing programs to really launch something very exciting for our scholars at the high school level in the over the next year.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts and the operations end. So the transferring of credits, of course, each individual institution determines which credits they want to transfer in. But for the most part, we have had success with students being able to transfer their credits into Connecticut private and public institutions. It's $150 for each 3-credit course. Staffing credentials. So in order to teach a concurrent enrollment class offered by either Goodwin or the University of Bridgeport, a master's degree is preferred but not required. There is a specific emphasis when it comes to the advanced manufacturing classes that they do have to participate in training offered by the university, just to make sure that they have the knowledge and safety protocols that are needed for these classes. And so when it comes to onboarding for staff and students, the first step is signing an articulation agreement between the university and the school district. Once that then is established, from there, the onboarding occurs directly with the teachers. So it's a matter of checking their credentials and making sure they have what they need to then be recognized as a professor at the university. Once we have a professor set up, then it's a matter of identifying the students, having the students register for their classes. And also one of the things that is offered to the teachers who are teaching the classes is that they will have access to our learning management system, which is Canvas, to aid them when it comes to course instruction.
So when we look at our opportunities between Goodwin University and University of Bridgeport, we do see some differentiators. And I have to say, as a former superintendent in a district not too far from East Hartford, these were some of the reasons why we partnered. We have the power of the two universities working together to really maximize the potential for offerings for scholars across the state of Connecticut. We do have a history of agility in collaborating with districts. I think that, like we're hearing, and we heard from Central, and I think we'll hear from UConn, all of the high institutes of higher education, everybody wants to be agile and supportive of each other. And we are working collaboratively with the other universities because we see this as a truly incredible opportunity for scholars across the state of Connecticut. We definitely have a passion to be innovative, as evidenced by the pathways that we have and the pathways we plan to continue to develop in partnership with school districts. We really want to make certain that what Connecticut does, not just Goodwin and University of Bridgeport, but what Connecticut does for its scholars is something that we could all be proud of throughout the state as well as across the country and be looked at as a model as a state. multiple options for both general studies and career focused credit. This is really, I think, one of the main differentiators, that we do have clearly identified pathways that do accumulate credits. So they're stackable credentials that students can acquire working with the districts like we do right now in partnership with small districts as well as large districts, looking at their plan of study and showing students that they have credits that will then be able to transfer into their area of focus when they go to post-high school, or when they go into the world of work and have a higher level of credential for those opportunities, and also work within a business that most likely will look at those and say, hey, we're going to pay for the rest of your tuition to continue the associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. And opportunities for students to participate in university events. At the University of Bridgeport, they offer a lot of opportunities for students involved in concurrent enrollment, where they can actually go and participate in university activities as a student with college students. So the most notable one is they have a poster exhibit where students are able to share their research as high school students and get feedback from the university professors across the system. So as I said, we are seeking partners like everyone else. That's what this is, a wonderful opportunity for the IHEs to be able to reach out and talk to school districts. We are open to any ideas of interest. We would really be willing to talk to districts who might think that they have something that has yet to be addressed. We'd love to have those opportunities. We do offer on-site collaboration and planning. Again, those over 30 districts we're working with, this is pretty much what we do, is to meet with them, go over curriculum, look at the resources, look at their staffing, and really make it a successful opportunity for their scholars and for their system.
And here is our contact information. So if you have any questions about what Sal and I discussed today, you have our information, our Goodwin information, and then we also have our contact down at the University of Bridgeport as well. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that presentation, Caprice and Sal. Appreciate it. Are there any questions for our Goodwin colleagues? Okay. And Sal, you could see the questions coming in,
Yep.
I guess, as well. So feel free to, Caprice, Sal,
Yep.
you can just jump in with answers.
There is absolutely no requirement to adopt the courses in any sequence, or to adopt all the courses. We're just, because of our high school and soon to be second high school on campus, we have done this in a manner that is presentable to our students and their families, their scholars and their families, to understand the pathway, but there is no requirement. There are prerequisites that obviously would go with courses, but most of those are already taught at your high school. For like example, biology, or a math class, an algebra class, algebra 1 class, or something to that effect. But we would meet with the district and go through all of that.
Thanks, Peter, for that question. And Sal, just to sort of state the obvious, every course that you showed on the slides is, for lack of a better word, articulatable, can be articulated with Goodwin, right? So you showed some 200 level courses on there too. I just want to make sure those can
Yes.
also be articulated. Okay.
Yes, they've all been vetted by the universities and are already being articulated for the fall.
Okay. Another question here. Would you entertain developing an associate's program in welding?
Actually, we have a couple of districts who are very interested in that. So if you are interested, please reach out to me. We're going to bring together a meeting right now we have about 4 districts who would like to do that, and they're geographically all over the state. So don't worry about where you are. We'll figure it out, but I'd be happy to have a conversation and connect you with the right people to discuss that. Actually, I heard from Marco, your buddy, that you might want to contact us. So Westbrook is on the list, Leslie. Don't worry. You're on the list. Marco volunteered, I guess you already.
Any other questions for Goodwin / UB? And I know UB is on tomorrow as well. So they'll be coming on as well. So we're gonna fact check you, Sal and Caprice, about some other things you said. Just kidding. So any other questions for Caprice and Sal? All right. Renee, anything before we turn it over to Chris?
No, I think we're
Okay,
ready to hear
Chris,
from
let's
UConn.
go.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I recognize that it is 3:13 and everybody's coming back from a long weekend, so my colleague Jess and I will kind of keep this concise and to the point. We want to also acknowledge that the vast majority of you that are on the call are already partners with us as the program nears 200 partner schools across the state. So to give you just a general idea, the Office of Early College Programs at the University of Connecticut does have different articulation agreements available to our partner schools. We're going to focus primarily on our Early College Experience program today, which is our concurrent enrollment program, but we do also offer dual enrollment where students can take courses on either the Storrs campus or any of the regional campuses. And we do run a pre-college summer program, which allows rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors to attend non-credit bearing and credit bearing course opportunities and live on campus for a week.
So just to go over the basics of UConn ECE, the Early College Experience Program, we do offer at this time 91 UConn courses to our high school partners and continuing to grow. We have 37 departments that we partner with, and that's representative of 5 schools and colleges across the university. And this year, the 23-24 year, upcoming year, we have 284 potential UConn credits that will be available to our students. So we are the oldest concurrent enrollment program in the country, the largest in the state, and the only NACEP accredited program within the state of Connecticut. And so we just wanted to go over the UConn courses offered through ECE and how they support college and career readiness. So there are 91 UConn courses, as I mentioned, and UConn ECE is UConn courses. So we do drive that home with all of our partners. ECE students are considered UConn non-degree students. They have everything else that a non-degree student has at the university. So they have an ID with the university, they have all the resources available to them that would be available to a non-degree student as well. Transferability, which is huge for us. We do have a transfer database that we've done extensive research to show that UConn ECE courses are 87% transferable to other colleges and universities. And that transfer rate, we do attest to being very high because of our NACEP accreditation, and that those do transfer nationally. And the success, what we found is over 90% of our students enrolled in a UConn ECE course do earn the credit and are successful in the course. So that's something that, I mean, over the years it has maintained, and we've seen that 90% success rate.
So recognizing that we are a 4-year institution, we just wanted to highlight the fact that we do provide a variety of courses that support career clusters and different pathways that school districts are trying to build out and support. So kind of building off of Central's conversations and Sal and Goodwin's conversation, but really looking for opportunities to help utilize the UConn ECE program to support pathways that you may be looking to build out or articulate, or to kind of add on to. Two that jump out really quickly is the coursework that we offer in health sciences, career pathways, and then also our partnership with the NEAG School of Education and the ability for students to take 4 courses through the NEAG School of Ed program. We do have a resource that's available. So if you're just looking for a quick list of courses and how they align with the career pathways, that's available on our website.
So just to touch on the financial piece of the program, Our courses are $50 a credit. So 3-credit course being 150 and a 4-credit course being 200. And this is just showing the cost curve, comparing it to UConn undergrad non-degree fees as well. So for a 1 semester, 15-credit semester for a student, it would be $750 if the student took it through UConn ECE, as compared to a UConn undergraduate tuition with room and board being $13,600. And we do offer fee waivers for the program. So on the side of the slide, it shows in 22-23, we provided $781,000 in student fee waivers. And just this year, we have been working on updating a fee waiver policy in partnership with CSDE, School Health, Nutrition, and Family Services, and the Performance Office to be able to offer more and more extensive accessibility to our students within the state. And hopefully now we can show a short video. Hopefully it'll come through just of student benefits, really in the words directly from our students.
One of the most prominent aspects of this program is the cost savings. I took a total of 8 UConn courses throughout high school, and looking back on it, I quite literally saved thousands of dollars, which is the most gratifying feeling.
As a first-gen student, it was difficult because my parents have not gone to university, and so they didn't have much advice to offer me. So when I heard that my school was giving UConn classes, I thought it might be a good chance to experience a course.
So the UConn courses that I took in high school led me to graduating a year early. I was coming in with, I think, over 20 credits. All my UConn credits from high school allowed me to be exempt from a lot of gen eds. I was excited to get into my major, and it really allowed me to do so.
I was fortunate enough to come in with 18 UConn credits from high school, which did allow me to start a semester early. I was able to actually pick up a second major as well as a couple of minors. So I'm actually going to be completing 2 majors and 2 minors by the time I graduate. I'm able to pursue the things I want to study and still do it in the allotted 4 years.
So obviously, it's just a quick little excerpt of one of our resources that we have available. And, I think to Jess's earlier point, our UConn ECE students are UConn students. They're non-degree students. They have a UConn Net ID. They have access to all the library resources. They have access to scholarships and grants through our offices, in addition to opportunities through the departments and the discipline-specific courses that they're taking. We run a ton of student events on campus to support their experience and to really help integrate that concept of they're truly a UConn student taking a UConn course.
So we just wanted to touch base on the extensive support network. And this slide just kind of shows the UConn side of our partnership and our community, and then the high school side. So, as we mentioned, we have the 37 departments with the 5 colleges and schools represented. We have our UConn faculty coordinators, which are our specific coordinators from each department at the University of Connecticut that oversee their courses within the high school, within the department. And then we have the UConn ECE program staff. So we are a small staff of 8, but we are there at UConn facilitating the relationships between UConn and then our high schools, who have a high school site representative, typically someone in the school counseling office, who's our main contact to facilitate student registration and things such as that. Our high school instructors, obviously, who are certified. Our library media specialists, who really, they come onto campus for workshops each year, are really well versed in the resources available to our instructors and our students. And then obviously our students and parents and guardians who support their students to take these courses and see it through. We also have a newish student registration system, dualenroll.com, we use for our students to apply and enroll in our courses. With over 15,000 students each year, it has been a lifesaver to get the students in a very seamless manner. So we work very hard to build a community across both the high schools and UConn and in between.
And so building off of that, one of the things that we have spent a considerable amount of time on is supporting instructor pathways to ECE certification. Given that we are NACEP accredited, our accreditation standards drive some of the requirements and guidelines around that, as all instructors have to meet the same requirements as an adjunct instructor working at the University of Connecticut. In many instances, the preferred method is that they have a master's degree in their content area, but then what we've seen is across our 37 departments, increasingly our departments have created pathways for instructors who hold a master's degree in education and may have some just graduate specific coursework, or those instructors that may be a more career focused pathway, such as our digital media and design, where they're looking more at kind of professional experience versus necessarily advanced or terminal degrees. Additionally, this year we've able to have 3 departments come up with professional development specific pathways to ECE instructor certification. So courses such as our Asian American Studies course, our Maritime Studies course now exclusively have a free PD pathway to get educators certified to offer that. We're excited to be hosting some summer institutes next summer to support instructor certification for computer science and also for English. And so given that, I think everybody's familiar with the program, we did want to just highlight some of the benefits and resources the ECE program does bring to our partner schools. Overwhelmingly, when we do end of the year surveys and feedback with our ECE instructors, overwhelmingly they speak to the fact that their ECE course is oftentimes their favorite course to teach out of the year. It's a course that they look forward to. Many openly share that it's one of the reasons that keeps them in the classroom year after year, is looking forward to offering that course. So we do know that there's support for retention within our educators. The program prides itself. We offer 300 hours plus of content-specific professional learning each year at no cost to our instructors. So it's part of the benefit of them being part of their larger discipline and department at the university. So providing opportunities for them to discuss content-specific needs, resources. We offer graduate scholarships and grant opportunities to support classroom enhancements, additional coursework. So as you're thinking about utilizing your grants, we recognize that some of you might get more funding than others, but don't forget that our program does offer scholarship opportunities for instructors that are close to becoming certified. And then we're happy to offer intentional support. So similar to as Sal was talking about with Goodwin, we're happy to sit down with members of our team and members of your leadership team to kind of really look at how to maximize your FTEs across the district. So looking for articulation between existing UConn ECE courses that you already offer, and kind of how that might look in terms of maximizing your instructors and really looking for opportunities to bridge that gap. Particularly in the world languages, we do offer a wide spectrum of course offerings across multiple different languages, and many of our partner schools have viewed this as a way to keep a robust language program alive and well in their schools. Just some additional resources for you to access once we share out the slides. So we have some specific research and access around ECE and AP and kind of how the two go hand in hand or support one another. Additional information if you're looking for discipline-specific pathways to ECE instructor certification. And all of our partner school principals and site representatives should have received a document from us last week, which is really just some really kind of simple guidance around how you can utilize your partnership with the UConn ECE program to apply for the grant opportunity. And that's also available on the main page of our website. And then just our contact information is available here. So again, we have our main office, email, phone, and then you have both my contact information and Jess Dunn's contact information.
Great. Thank you, Chris and Jessica, for another succinct summary, 3 excellent presentations. So thank you for that. There were a couple of questions in the chat, Chris. I don't know if you wanted to just, if you and Jessica wanted to just take it, or do you want me to, one is from Judith about, for UConn ECE, does the teacher need content area? I know you spoke to it in that slide with the options. Maybe you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, it is so discipline specific. I wish I could just give a simple yes or no. I would say more often than not, they do not need a full master's degree in their content. They look for courses. Increasingly, our faculty coordinators are looking at master's degrees in education and trying to find kind of those pieces of coursework, and then are looking for 1 or 2 additional courses. So not a full master's degree. I will say that the humanities are a little bit more accommodating for that than some of our STEM fields and disciplines, but that's changing, and it's a conversation that we are constantly having with our departments at the university and on campus. Private schools, we
Chris, actually, before you jump to that one, can I just stay on that point, actually, because I think it's an important point. Would demand from the constituency, our field here, help you too? Meaning that if a lot of districts, no, it's not going to help, like more people
like
are
I would love
interested in those STEM courses.
Yeah, obviously I would love, like,
Yeah.
we take feedback from our partner schools all the time and use that to change and push dialogue at the university. At the end of the day, with UConn being an R1 research institution, the departments really pride themselves on who is working in their department and who is affiliated with their department. So we are constantly having conversations around, there's a difference between hiring preferences and minimum standards to adjunct a particular course. So please know it's something that we constantly are going on.
Okay. Well, if there's any way we can help sort of, because, and I think this applies to everybody too, because I think probably more so for UConn as an R1 institution. But let me ask this other question, or make another comment, which is, you brought up NACEP, which is the National Accreditation for Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships or Concurrent Enrollment Programs. So I want to just put that out there for our higher ed partners, but also for the rest of the community, that is something that the department is going to be pushing our IHE partners to acquire, or something similar or close. And we're still sort of in early discussions around it, because I think as we expand our work into dual credit, it's really important that we maintain those standards of quality for our programs. So I think we're going to be we're having that conversation with our IHE partners, and we'll continue to have that. But when Chris mentioned NACEP, or I think Jessica actually mentioned NACEP as being the NACEP accredited program, that please know that is something, that is a bar that we want to have for all our IHE partners as well. So we'll be having that conversation with everyone. So, and Sal, I see your note. Are you planning to pursue NACEP as well? Is that what you're responding to? Okay.
Yes, both universities plan to.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So I guess now Chris, you can go on to the other question about private schools. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, I actually think both Caprice and Jessica had sort of mentioned a similar thing, where obviously each institution has the prerogative to determine which credits they choose to accept. I would say that our private schools across the nation are becoming increasingly more selective, as we're seeing declines in enrollment in IHEs across kind of the wave. I guess what I would say is that this is a great opportunity where you have to leverage our office and our relationship with the university. So we have students that reach out to us all the time. Our office writes a letter on their behalf that really attests to the fact that while it's a concurrent enrollment program, that the instructors are considered affiliates and adjuncts at the University of Connecticut, that it is not a high school syllabus. It is truly the UConn course syllabus. And generally that is successful in helping the students transfer their credit in. I will say, just like the private schools don't take AP credit either, in terms of getting rid of a prerequisite for particular courses. Similar, that's often the case with concurrent enrollment as well.
Go ahead, Sal. See, you've raised your hand.
I was just going to say that that's a really good point that Chris just mentioned about the whole idea of being viewed as an adjunct professor, because that is, I think that would probably be the case across all of the schools. I know in particular, especially in the area of advanced manufacturing, we are actually looking to hire some of the high school teachers to come and actually fill in and teach some courses at the university level, because it's expanding so greatly. So that is a really nice benefit. As Chris mentioned, this is a great way to get teachers to want to stay motivated in this profession, and to have a teacher get that letter saying you're an adjunct from whichever university it does provide them that little extra boost to someone who's taking and going beyond a call of duty. And that goes for any institution they're working with. So I know that was a big boost to a lot of my staff members in my previous district. And even here, this year we expanded it to our high school teachers, and it was like, wow, I've been wanting to teach this forever. So I really appreciate Chris bringing that forward.
I think we can open it up for questions for any of the IHEs at this point. So are there any questions for Central, Goodwin, UConn representatives here? And again, you can put them in the chat or raise your hand and we can unmute you and you can ask it orally. Okay, Sarah asks, if our district school does not have a partnership currently, what's the best first step to establish that partnership? I would say reach out to the individuals on this call. Use the dual credit opportunities website that Renee mentioned at the opening, and we can put the link to the chat in the chat again. Find the college, view the presentation from IHE1 from the first session so you could see what they said. Contact those institutions if something appeals to you. The other thing is, I think, get a sense of what the interest is in your own high school community for your among your students and your faculty. Find out what do you think would be helpful, and also connect with your local employer partners. Look at chamber reports for high demand careers. Sort of think about like where do you want to sort of start this. Other sort of tip would be start small. Don't try to do everything. Pick one thing. Try to start one course, 2 courses. Get the word out and build your work that way. But again, with all of these things, start with the points of contact who are presenting on this call and who are listed on the dual credit website. And yes, we will circulate slides and the recording. And Renee, you mentioned, I think at the opening, that the recording is available on the dual credit website as well.
It is. The session 1 recording is there under events on the homepage.
Wonderful. And I'm going to put that link again in the chat. So that's the link, and you can actually see that recording. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, view the recording. Wonderful. Any other questions for our speakers today? Renee, I guess you can close up now.
All right, great. I mean, hopefully, I think you're getting the feeling that some of the silos are sort of breaking down, which really pleases me. This whole effort has a few different positives going with it. One of the questions that came up in the chat about the requirements for a teacher to be considered adjunct faculty or to be able to teach a concurrent enrollment course, I think I would encourage you, as Chris said, to have a conversation about it. And I think that holds true for a lot of this, whether it's a new partnership or getting teachers credentialed or, what potential opportunities there are for your students. Maybe you received an answer 3 years ago that's going to be different than the answer you get now. So I would encourage you to have those conversations again and to not necessarily believe some of the stories you've heard, because we've heard a lot of stories during the last few months on this topic, and really sort of conflicting stories. So I would encourage you to get your own answer to the questions that you have that are specific to your community. And so I'll thank one more time everyone for being here today and for being really willing partners in all this work and your flexibility with us. We really appreciate it. For those of you on the line who are interested in learning about some of the other IHEs in our state, we have 2 sessions tomorrow. We have a 9 a.m. and an 11 a.m. and then we're wrapping up our four sessions. And the recordings will be posted again on that dual credit opportunity site that Ajit provided you a link for. And as I mentioned in the chat, I will be sending around the recording to this session and all of the slides. It might take me a day, maybe two, but it's coming. So thank you for your interest and thank you for coming today.